Hello everybody, today we're going to be continuing to take a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. We are now, I believe, on episode 39. In the last episode, we saw a war happen in South America where an orange team was destroyed. We saw a couple wars happen in Africa, like in Madagascar, down south over here in South Africa. We saw a war happen over right here. And overall, we saw a lot of world events happen. But in today's video, we're going to go ahead and see some more events happen in the New World as well as creation of a new alliance. So let's go ahead and start today's video. I want to talk about something real quick, and that is the elves. There are 6 elf countries now, and I'm going to tell you right now, this country, especially this country, and also this country, have high elf population. And there might be a big war that happens over elves and the discrimination of them, and we'll just have to see what happens in another video. But just know these guys are not liking of each other, and I need to redo some parts of the map. Some parts just do not look good and just are outdated, and yeah, they just aren't good. Coming over here to the Michigan or just the Michigans that are about to become the Michigan Empire, and I promise I'm not gonna blaze. The Michiganders are going to make a landing in this part of the pink country. Now, the Michiganders have a lot of major cities. They have, five. This country also has five, but, like, this one is, like, way less than any population of here. So, what I'm trying to say is that this country is very weak, and they're so weak that they lose this major city over here, and they lose all of that, just like that. And well, yeah, they lost almost all of their coastline over here and the Great Lake area, which is definitely their way more populated area. Coming over here, we can see that the Michiganders are going to make a push to the or one of the major cities right here. But the pink team actually does manage to push back over here in the central region. However, it's not too much. Seizing the opportunity to do so, the Dark Cyan team will also start their invasion of the pink country, really focusing on their capital city, as they feel it is the most important part of this country, which is not true. So, the red team, or the Michiganders, are going to make a conquest, which is taking all the coast in the Great Lake area, which they do, and they also encircle a major city, and they try to go as far away from it as they humanly can. While up here, they also push up and push closer to the capital of the pink team. Up north, we can see the pink team is going to get invaded all the way up here, and their city right here is taken. And that was just the main goal, just to take that city. And, well, we can see that this country is just collapsing. As the blue team starts their invasion, and that's a little too light. There we go. This blue team. They start their invasion of the pink country, and they take this major city, and it's about Joe over for the pink country, as if it wasn't already, as this major city is finally captured, and the Michiganders are gonna go ahead and stop. They do get a little land like that, but then they eventually stop, and the capital is just taken by the Dark Cyan team, and this guy's just gonna go ahead and surrender. So let's take a look at the peace treaty of the kind of Ontario country. I just heard another car screech. Second time I've heard a car screech while recording. Anyways, let's take a look at the peace treaty. When taking a look at the peace treaty, they can see the Michiganders, who of course started the war, get all of this land, which is a really good deal. That is most of that's just most of the populated areas of that team. Also, I forgot. I don't know why this right there. And well, yeah. So the Dark Cyan team will take all of that. That is a really good amount of land from the pink team. And then this bluish team will get all of land, which is actually really good. They get more land than they actually invaded, contrary to this guy. And now the remains of the pink team are now gone. That country, I first of all, I really didn't like it on the map. They were just kind of, it's too similar to this guy's color, who's like a pinkish purple type, type mix. And yeah, it's a bluish purple type mix, light bluish purple type mix, and I just didn't like how that looked. So now this looks actually a lot better, and I really like how it looks over here. Also, by the way, I wasn't gonna record a video today because I really wasn't feeling good to do it. But now think I'm feeling a little bit better about doing a video. So I was gonna make a community post, but I decided not to because I am gonna make the video. That's what you're seeing right now. Also, Hawaii is still owned by China. That's something I thought I should say. Coming over here to the Lime team, they are gonna kind of just get destroyed by the Sri Lankans. The Sri Lankans are a fascist country. The Lime team is a military dictatorship. However, their stability has been horrible. They did get invaded by the North Indian Federation and they got destroyed. And that was actually a good video. I like that video. But yeah, so we can see the Sri Lankans mainly focusing on the rural areas actually first, which is a very interesting thing. They focus on the rural areas before they focus on the more populated areas, and that's actually a good thing because they do manage to encircle the capital as they take another major city. The Lime team is not going to let this fall or slide though, as they take a bunch of land, connecting them back to their cap, and these guys start to slowly shrink. However, the Sri Lankans, noticing all these troops are missing, just goes ahead and does that, so that's not very good. And then they just follow the border of the North Indian Federation, and they start pushing into the Lime team, and eventually they will fall. And let's go ahead and take a look at this peace treaty of the Middle Indian. So in this peace treaty, the Sri Lankans are going to take all of that area right there. A very interesting border. But honestly, I have no clue what to do for the rest of it. Actually, I don't have any idea. So the Sri Lankans are going to annex this, and then they're going to turn this into a puppet state. Very logical thinking right there. I'm a very smart person, if you couldn't tell. Uh, I'm like the smartest person alive. Screw Einstein and all those other people like George Washington. He wasn't even smart. That just shows you how smart I am. You know what makes me not smart? The fact I didn't turn on anti-aliasing. Oh my god. It doesn't matter, I'll just fix that later. And there we go. So, now that is not that. Why did I click that? Now that is part of the Sri Lankans, who are a growing empire, of course, over here in the Indian Ocean region. Speaking of the Indian Ocean region, let's go on to Madagascar. Remember, Madagascar is the African fascist ideology, and they will start to invade. That's the wrong thing. They will start to invade portions of the Orange team, and the Orange team is a very. I like how it looks, but unfortunately, it has to go. It's a very interesting country and how it looks. But then the Red team starts invading. Now, the Red team is a very big country. They're just the Botswana of this world, and they're really big. However, they don't as they will start invading, no, wrong color. They will start invading the northern regions and take all of this land. And then the Madagascar people actually go on to that, so that's interesting. But the rest of this area will fall to the red team. And let's go ahead and take a look at a peace treaty between these three countries. Taking a look at the peace treaty, the blue team gets all of this land in the south, and then all of this land right here in the north, and the rest will go to the Botswanans, who I mean they didn't do they did a lot in this war, but it wasn't too big of a you know it just wasn't too big of. Oh, by the way, talking about this Botswanan country, it's like I said, it's a really big country. I was debating when I did make this if I wanted to be this big. And now I'm starting to see the consequences of that. Or they are starting to see the consequences of not breaking apart, as they're gaining a lot of instability, and it's so bad that in the next episode we could probably see a big African war that happens over this Botswanan area. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? Overall, though, the blue team definitely got the more beneficial land, even though the capital was taken by the Mozambique people or the Botswanan people. They still got this major city and probably a lot of trade over this region. Who knows? Yeah. You know how I said African fascism, which, by the way, is its own ideology, which is the dark purple? Remember how I said that that wasn't as bad as fascism? Well, it is. It's worse than fascism. Fascism up here isn't necessarily ethnic cleansing, or genocide. It's just a interesting thing. It's just expansion and some other policy. Well, these guys are expansionists. They're racists. They're probably a lot more stuff. And they're also killers. They kill people. That's not a part of their same religion. Now, this was the original Blue Team religion, and let's just say some of these pockets over here are starting to get a little less, you know, a little less people following them, and a little bit more people following the Blue Team's religion. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. They also spread their religion into their many parts of their African regions, which includes a lot of the northern sector, or all of this northern sector, which is a lot, and we can see that, well, the blue team's doing not so good stuff in this region. They are ethnically cleansing these people, which of course is never a good thing, obviously. Also, what is this? Oh, it doesn't exist anymore. It's only on the religion map. You know what? I don't care. I'm gonna leave that. Coming over here to the elf countries, we can see that this one right here is gonna invade the purple one. Now, if you remember, the purple one is a military dictatorship. However, people just don't care anymore. The Lime Team is a way stronger country. The Floridan Empire, as I like to call it. The capital is taken, and eventually this country is fully captured. And of course, in the peace treaty, why wouldn't it be? It's full annexation of that team. And now these borders of the Floridan Empire are just looking a lot better. Now remember the British Political Union, where they're going to be adding some members to their military alliance in order to keep democracy in the world. But before they do that, they're going to spread some democracy, and not necessarily in a bad way, just like in a well, a kind of corrupt way. But eventually, these nations will become full democracy. So Brittany becomes a democratic country, as well as this blue thing. This green thing becomes a flawed democracy. And Portugal becomes a full democracy, actually, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, looking at Africa, most of these people are democracies. There are some monarchies and some fascists, well, African fascists. And there's one military dictatorship. They also get this country right here, which is now a flawed democracy, as well as Estonia, which is a full democracy now. They get this Asian red team. Interesting. They also get this purple team right here, which is a union, so it's kind of close to the British political. And they also get the Siberian country. So as we can see, democracy is becoming a lot more popular in the world. Um, that's good. But also fascism, and specifically African fascism, is starting to rise as a global hegemon. Forgot about their economical alliance. First of all, I don't know why only Scotland has it. But for their economical alliance, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on these countries. They're gonna go ahead and add more members. Of those, of course, being the Brittany country, the Blue French team right here, and then the Portuguese country all the way down south right here. They add these guys to their economical alliance to bring a more peaceful approach to Europe and also to unified trade, all that type of stuff. Now, it is important to know the relations between fascism and African fascism, and those relations aren't bad. They are, of course, they do support each other. In some cases, they do disagree, especially with the ongoing genocide of people in Madagascar. But overall, they do agree with most of their approaches. It's just a couple of them that are a little bit iffy. Coming over here to these two countries, they've had really good relations in the past. You know, they fought against Israel in the past. They fought against the Cypriot Empire in the past, which obviously no longer exists, because there's no purple. This is pink. I don't know what pink came from. It's not Cypriots. I know Cypriots were purple. Anyways, yeah, these guys have fought two wars against, technically three wars with each other against the Ottomans as well. And these guys are they're doing really good in relations. So they're going to go ahead and unite into this kind of orange brownish color. It is a good mix between, it's like the exact midpoint between the two. Now I feel like this is a great time to address unifications that are appearing more often. It's very often for more unifications to appear in the world as there is more unifying between ideology. Both these countries are monarchies, by the way. In their capital, they're going to actually move their capital from both of these two major cities. They're going to actually move it to the coast right here in a more neutral location, not really trying to cause any division within the country, as I feel that the coast would be the best option for this country because it probably would. Anyways, yeah, so there is the brownish orange team. A pretty strong union, actually. Anyways, let's talk about Egypt. This was pretty much the color of Egypt back when it existed. So it's a little bit different now because I like how it looks now better than it looked before. But I feel that this is just way better. coming over here to Nigeria, we are really seeing a lot of conflicts in the New World, but this is expected due to colonial things. The Nigerians claim a portion of the green country that looks like that. They claim they own all of that, while the green team says they own all of the that they actually do claim and hold on with government, political, and all that type of control. But the Nigerians don't care as they start their invasion of the seafoam green country. Now, seafoam green is a very one of my favorite colors. However, I don't care about colors in the series. I mean, the only countries that kind of glazed for their colors was the Swedish Union, probably the Ottomans, the North Indian Federation, and probably the Southeast Asian Union. Probably the most glazed countries. But they all had to fall at least sometime. And well, we can see that same thing happening as all of the coastline of this country is taken and their capital is completely, is completely taken, well, encircled. And they are going to try to take it back, and it actually goes well. They do take this land back right here. However, they just kind of do this and just claim all of this part of the country with, of course, their troops. And, well, they just focus on the north for now, as they just plan to go on south and bum rush everybody here. And that is what they do, as they don't, nope, they don't invade to that country. They take all of this land right here. Let's go ahead and take a look at a peace treaty of this country. So in the peace treaty, the blue Nigerians are gonna take all of that. And looking at the cities, this country still has a couple major cities, and they are going to go ahead and put it right here. Now, I don't know why I didn't do this with the seafoam green color on. Let me get that right. Okay, this is good enough, I think. Nope, not that. This is good enough, I think. Yep. And honestly, that looks a lot better than it did before. I don't know what is happening right here. Um, just the whole coast of Africa is not looking good. Obviously, we can't really do much about that because it would just take a long time to do that. But maybe I might. I don't know. Anyways, that is gonna do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. A lot of New World conflicts, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Or what? I will see you guys in the next video. Good